Welcome to what we believe is one of the finest, most special vehicles that we have had the privilege of owning and subsequently, we're hoping, selling. This is a 2008 Ferrari F430 F1 Spider. It's incredibly special because this car has covered 697 miles from new. So a 15-year-old vehicle, 697 miles, and just an absolute beauty. We are delighted to have the car. We're really excited to do this video, and because this car is so special, we're going to try and do something slightly different. We're going to try and run you through sort of the background of the F430 to start, so a little bit about the car in general, and then we will move on to some more specifics about this individual car, why we bought it, why it for us represents something really significant, you know, a really collectible opportunity for somebody. But let's start with the Ferrari F430 as a model. Actually, in my opinion, one of the more beautiful mid-engine sort of Ferrari mid-engine V8 cars. They do get very angular after the F430, so the 458 goes in a completely different design direction. So, and to be perfectly honest, that's quite explainable. So this was the first car that Ferrari and Frank Stephenson designed together. So Frank Stephenson's first car at Ferrari. And fundamentally, Frank was given a vehicle such as the 360 Modena as a sort of shell, as a basis to design this car from. So the 360 being very curvaceous, a beautiful piece of design, and he was given the raw sort of ingredients of the 360, and then the 430 is just essentially an extremely modified, upgraded version of the 360. Obviously, it's very different underneath in terms of the suspension, etc., but the layout is very similar. And then you came to the final bit, which was adorning that incredible chassis with this beautiful, beautiful body. The car itself was meant to be a bit more aggressive. That was the premise. It was meant to be a more aggressive looking version of the 360. So you do see that all over the vehicle, and we'll touch on little design aspects that are different. Obviously the headlights being one major difference. And that was the idea. It was designed to take the 360, a relatively soft car, and make it look slightly more aggressive, give it a bit of an edge. Now, some of the amazing design cues come from Ferrari's heritage. So these down scoops over here, these air intake scoops at the bottom of the car, these actually come from Ferrari's 1961 Formula One car, the Ferrari 156, and that was called a shark nose. And I know that this section here, these elliptical scoops in here that feed air towards these lower radiators, they are functional, of course, for cooling, but obviously they do a really big job in terms of design. So they give it that shark nose front end, which the 430 has become really well known, really famous for. So that's pretty much a brief history of the F430 in terms of its design and its origins. And now we'll try and talk a little bit more about this specific car. Finished in Rossa Corsa, which, you know, for me, and I think for most Ferrari aficionados out there, is the color you have your Ferrari in. It's the Ferrari red, with obviously the classic Crema leather hide interior. That's also contrast stitched beautifully in Bordeaux, which is a very dark, deep red. And that stitching follows the rest of the interior. So the Nero black dashboard is also contrast stitched in the same Bordeaux. So a beautiful color scheme, probably the most iconic Ferrari color scheme there is. So all the things sort of stacking up for the reasons why we were so enticed by this specific vehicle. We were so excited about it. You know, not only is it, you know, in our opinion, one of the best examples available today in the UK to buy, if not the best, it's also in the best color scheme, done 697 miles. So we're going to start now. We're going to walk around the car. We're going to show you a bit more, and we're going to start at this front corner here. And if the cameraman can come in, and I'll run you through a few of the things on this front end here. So front left wheel. Now, this car is all about originality, and that's a key thing that I would like to get across in this video. So, and we'll start with the tyres. These tyres are all made in 2007. So these tyres predate the vehicle, as tyres obviously do, but all of the tyres are from 2007, which means that all of these tyres are the car's original tyres. So just it all adds up to more originality. And these tyres, I beg your pardon, have a lovely bit of patina. They're just slightly perished on the edges here. Obviously still loads of tread because they've barely been used. And we are going to leave the car on these tyres for the time being. Just to keep the car as original, to keep it the way we found it, the way it should be for the time being. So any prospective buyers, get that real sense of security that they know what they're buying. And they're all obviously the original Bridgestone Potenzas, which the car is designated to arrive on. Now, you've got these beautiful 5 twin-spoked alloy wheels. Again, they look brand new, as you would expect of a car with this sort of mileage, even down to the weights on the wheels. They're all in absolutely amazing condition. They pretty much look brand new. And then that leads me to what is behind these wheels. So being a 2008 model year, this car comes standard with carbon ceramic brake system. So it's the Brembo designed Ferrari carbon ceramic brake system, a fabulous system, incredible high performance braking. But there are a lot of low mileage vehicles in the market at the moment, and they are the earlier version with the steel brakes. So we believe that being a carbon ceramic 2008 car, model year car, it gives this car something different. It makes it stand out a bit more. That also has an added benefit. So with those brakes, the added benefit is that part of the due diligence of buying a vehicle like this, we were able to plug into the car's system, into its ECU, and see what the measurements were left, the wear measurements were left on these brakes at point of purchase for us. So everything was exactly as you'd imagine it would be. We were at 0% wear on the rears, 0% wear on the rear brakes and 1% wear on the front brakes. So absolutely incredible. The brakes essentially brand new. Some more details on the car. You've got the Scuderia shields here. These are a lovely cost option and lots of people don't realize, but these shields are actually pushed into the panel. So the panel itself, if you order Scuderia shields, you have to have a completely different front wing to a standard F430. So if you have a look there, you can see that the shield actually sits into the wing, into the metal wing, which is a really lovely detail on the beautiful Ferrari Cavallino there. And then we'll come down this beautiful angular side. And again, going back to the sort of the beginning with the design of this vehicle, you can see these are far more angular, far more aggressive air intakes here and above the door at the back on its shoulders here. They're far more aggressive than they are on the 430, where they're all very rounded and very smooth. And I think that really does begin to separate these two cars. This is a very big step forward from the 360. And definitely, going forward, in our opinion, a future classic. So I will show you inside. This interior is absolutely outstanding. Hopefully the camera will show you that. Daytona style seats, which for me are the best seat that you can order for an F430. And again, hopefully you can see all of that contrast Bordeaux stitching, that beautiful Crema, and the Bordeaux carpets as well. An absolutely amazing color scheme for me. Just, the color scheme for me. Now, I've left this box out here because what I did want to do is I wanted to show you this. This is the vehicle's vehicle identification passport. It comes adorned in this amazing little leather jacket here. And most of these get lost with the cars because obviously the first owner gets this booklet and it doesn't tend to pass hands when the vehicles pass ownership. So this is here with the car. It's a beautiful little book that matches the chassis and the engine number. And it runs through the vehicle when it was sat in the factory in Maranello. Its build process, you can see here with its aluminium chassis. And then as you go through, you'll have pictures of the body, incredible rub down body there at point before paint. And then as it goes on, you'll see the engine, and then we'll flick right to the back to see the car actually leaving the factory in Maranello there, finished beautifully in Rossa Corsa as it should be. So a really nice little addition, that vehicle identification passport, still being physical and present with the car itself. And as I say, in its original boxing, exactly as it should be, brand new. Just a lovely extra feature to go along with this car, to reinforce that originality. And we'll come round to the back of the car as well now. And here's where the car, again, keeps giving you little bits of personality, little bits of things that make it different to other vehicles. You've got these incredible difference between the 360 again, these amazing rear lights, which actually sit proud of the rear deck lid here, which is lovely. Again, a really iconic 430 thing, something that they hadn't done on other Ferraris up until this point. And these lights, you can see most of the cluster back there. So the light cluster actually is quite a big unit because it becomes part of the design of the vehicle rather than just a rear light. And I actually think the back of the 430 is stunning. And then this car has the Scuderia carbon fiber rear grille, a beautiful cost option. I mean, what is a Ferrari without carbon fiber? And again, the 430 was the first car, the first mid-engined V8 car that Ferrari made that really went very aggressive with the diffuser. So you can see how deep these strakes are on the rear diffuser here. The 360 has this middle section here, but it just has clean zones either side. Whereas you can sort of see how important aerodynamics was becoming at Ferrari, at Maranello at this point with their road cars. It's a really big diffuser. It plays a huge aerodynamic role. It has a lot of function. And more than that, it just looks amazing. It gives the back end of this car this incredible aggressive view. And then that leads me to some of, while I'm at the back end of the car, it leads me to some of the other nicer bits. This car is fitted with rear park distance control, which is a lovely little feature because obviously being a mid-engine Ferrari, you haven't got the most amazing visibility of the back end of the car when you're reversing it or maneuvering it. So obviously a very nice thing to have. And obviously it's factory fitted, so it looks beautiful rather than an aftermarket kit fitted, which, you know, lots of people do. And then what I will do is I will open the engine bay, as the cameraman has very cleverly taken me there, and show you inside the engine bay because you need to see the condition. You need to see how amazingly well kept this car is, how well it's survived. The engine, everything in the engine bay, the exhaust, everything, it still looks as new. They suffer very commonly with this heat crackling paint fading in places and lifting in places. The plenum chambers on this car are perfect. The exhaust still has all of its original shine. And you can see all the areas where the sides of the vents here, where the sides of the engine trays, you know, they're all in such fantastic order. It really is a privilege to be around this car. It's super, super special. And I'll just bring that down. And then we'll come round the driver's side and I'll run you through some more of the car. And I wanted to just very briefly, while we're here, I just wanted to show you that this car's still got all of its original sort of armor glazing on all of the fender armor, I don't really know what it's called. Essentially, it's we would call it PPF now. It's a paint protection film. It sits on all of the arches, all of the air intakes here, and it's all as original as it left the factory, all done by Ferrari, and obviously completely unmarked because the vehicle's done such low mileage. Now, we're going to jump in and I'm going to show you some of the features around the car. It's not your normal F430 as well. It has some incredible features on it. Some things that I've not seen before on a 430, and there's one specific thing which I will show you in a second. So I'll jump in, I'll climb in, and I'll run you through some of the controls. Obviously, being a Ferrari from 2008, there isn't a huge amount of complication in here, but I actually love that about it. It's raw, it's a driving machine, you know, it's designed to, when you're in it, you're designed to be thinking about driving a Ferrari. You're not designed to be playing around with sat-nav and things like that. So it's actually a really wonderful, simple place to be, beautifully designed. You can see on the door cards, you can see the condition of this leather. I mean, it's outstanding. Completely original, beautifully stitched in Bordeaux. I love that. I think that's a wonderful touch. And that actually follows up the A-pillar. I don't know if you can see that. All the Bordeaux stitching on the Crema leather up the A-pillar. And even up to these, you know, these sun visors here. They're Crema on the outside with Bordeaux stitching. They're black Alcantara on the inside, again with Bordeaux stitching. The detail is just outstanding. All of the felt edges to all of the leather, it basically is all brand new. It's incredible. And I'll run you through some of these controls inside the car. I've got the key in my pocket. But while I'm here, the car has full carbon fiber interior zone, which is the carbon fiber surrounds to the aircon vents and the switch pack down here. Obviously the center console here with F430 written on the top of it. And over there with the Ferrari emblem on the outside as well, celebrating Ferrari's Formula One win in 2007. And obviously down through this center tunnel here where the gear selector is, the mirror controls, etc. So I'll run the car, I'll start it up so you can hear that beautiful V8. The gearbox primes, as you can probably hear that little whine in the outside, you get check OK. It just runs through everything there. And the car's just fabulous. Sounds beautiful, sounds exactly as it should do. You've got the very famous Manettino here. So the F430 was one of the first cars Ferrari made with the Manettino. So this is one of the earlier versions of the Manettino. At the moment sat in sport, but you can adjust this switch to go to race. You can flick it to the right and hold it there and it will turn all traction control off. Over here you've got obviously a traction control button, and then under here you've got snow and ice mode, but to be perfectly honest, I don't think you should be taking out in snow and ice. And I'll switch it off now so you can hear me because it's very loud. Wait for the key to come out. Perfect. And I'll leave that there. And then you've got climate control over here, exactly as you'd imagine, so everything can be set to automatic with the climate control. This car actually has Becker navigation, which is very nice, quite a rare option to have the Becker navigation system. A lot of them just have the basic the basic radio. To be perfectly honest, given its age, given that system, it's not something you would ever actually use, but it's nice to know that this car, someone when they bought it had the most expensive version of the radio. And then down here, and I'll show you some more, but down here, I don't know if the camera can see it, but underneath this center console, there is a section here for an amplifier and a subwoofer, and I don't know if it can see it, but that says Bose on it. This car has factory fitted, upgraded sound by Bose. It's the first F430 I've ever seen with it. It doesn't mean there's not others out there, I'm sure there are, but you can, in these cars, you could have a upgraded hi-fi system, a high-power hi-fi system. And later on, when we bought this car, we discovered that you could also option the Bose hi-fi system. And we know that because if you come back into the car has a special button down here with Bose written on it, which says Bose Roof Open. So obviously, this essentially creates a sound process, the digital sound processor obviously creates a program to make the sound quality, miles better when the roof is down and you've got wind bluster and everything like that, to make the speakers and everything sound that much better when you're driving it with the roof off. One of the only cars, as I say, it's the only F430 I've seen with the option, and one of the only ones I believe I've managed to find online with that option as well. So a really rare thing, really nice option, making this car, just giving this car extra little edges of uniqueness, which I think are really vital when you're looking at buying this car. You're looking at buying one of these, whether to drive or as a collectible item. And I'll just go through everything else. You've got the roof switches down here exactly as you want it. You've got your reverse and your automatic transmission sections there. Launch control is down here as well if you wanted it. Although as far as I'm aware, if you do use launch control in an F430, it's not amazing for the clutches. So not a button I will be pressing, to be clear. And I will just, finally, to sort of bring this video to a close, what I will do is I will open the front trunk, or the Frunk as it is known. And I'll just show you some items inside the Frunk. It's a lovely Ferrari beep there. And if you have a look in here, you've got its original car charger inside a little Ferrari store bag. Inside the big Ferrari bag, the car comes with its original car cover, seat covers, and steering wheel cover. So covers for pretty much everything. You've got its original leather-bound slot, which is a little leather-bound bag, and what that does, and I'll keep it in its bag so you can see, what that does is if you ever want to remove this little air deflector, which is a little sort of perspex air deflector for when the roof's down, if you ever want to remove that, that lives in its own bag, which is here. Again, all going back to just how original this car is, how beautiful it is. It's all in its original plastic, just like the inflator kit there, all in its original plastic. All of its original stickers showing the car is Rossa Corsa. it's just an outstanding, outstanding example, the best example by a very long way that I have ever seen. And I think for someone out there, they're going to buy, in my opinion, the best F430 in the UK today. And my name is Matthew. I hope this video has been really helpful. I've really enjoyed doing it. I don't think I've missed too much. But if you have got any more questions, anything else we can answer, please do not hesitate to get in touch. We love to talk about cars. It's what we do, and we'd love to talk to you more about this one. Thank you very much for watching.